Okay, go ahead. Hi, this is Hassania. I'm here with another video. We are reading from the HalleluYah scriptures. We'd reached the 17th chapter of Shophetim or Judges, and I have a guest here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Sakalia. I'm 25, and I've been a daughter of Zion for, I thought it was 6 years. I think it's been 8 years now. And I'm happy to be here and to read with all of you. So,
Okay. So we'll say a word of prayer really quick and we will get right into it. Um, Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, this Shabbat. Um, Thank you for the young lady coming to help me read. Thank you, Father, for sending people to help me read. Father, please place on others' hearts the desire to come and help me increase the channel by reading the Bible with me. Send the help, Father, those technologically inclined to help me take it to a 24-hour Bible reading channel. Bring those who would moderate, possibly bring those who would want to read the Bible. Um, Father, and just thank you for placing on my heart the desire to open your word and to gain more understanding and knowledge and wisdom um, as you reveal to me the things that are going on in these days. Father, please forgive my sins. I repent of them, Father. I ask that you put a hedge of protection around the channel, put a hedge of protection around my mind, my body, my soul, my spirit. Father, strengthen me. Give me endurance, Father, to continue to press forward in what I feel you've placed on my heart to do. These and all things I ask in yours in your Son's name. So be it, and may it be so. All right. Shepherton, chapter 17. Take it
okay.
away.
And there was a man from the hill country of Ephraim whose name was Micaiah. And he said to his mother, The 1100 pieces of silver that were taken from you, and on which you put a curse, even saying it in my ears, look, the silver is with me. I took it. And his mother said, Baruch of Yahweh be my son. And he gave back the 1100 pieces of silver to his mother, and his mother said, I had truly kadosh the silver from my hand to Yahweh for my son, to make a carved image and a molded image, and now I give it back to you. And he gave the silver back to his mother, and his mother took 200 pieces of silver and gave them to the silversmith, and he made it into a carved image and a molded image. And they were in the house of Micaiah. Now the man Micah had a house of mighty ones, and made a shoulder garment and a house idols. And he ordained one of his sons, who became his Kohen. In those days there was no sovereign in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. And there was a young man from Bethlehem in Yehudah, the clan of Yehudah, and he was a Levite, and he was sojourning there. And the man went out of the city of Bethlehem and in Yehudah to sojourn wherever he could find a place. And he came to the mountains of Ephraim, to the house of Micah as he journeyed. And Micah said to him, Where do you come from? And he said to him, I am a Levite from Bethlehem in Yehudah, and I am on my way to find a place to sojourn. And Micah said to him, Dwell with me, and be a father and a Kohen to me, and I give you 10 pieces of silver per year, and allowance of garments, and your food. And the Levite went in. So the Levite agreed to dwell with the man, and the young man became like one of his sons to him. Then Micah ordained the Levite, and the young man uh, became his Kohen, and he was in the house of Micah. And Micah said, Now I know that Yahweh does good to me, since I have a Levite as a Kohen. 18. In those days there was no sovereign in Israel, and in those days the tribe of the Danites was seeking an inheritance for itself to dwell in. For until that day all their inheritance among the tribes of Israel had not yet fallen to them. And the children of Dan sent 5 men of their clan, brave men, from Sora and Eshtaol, to spy out the land and search it. And they said to them, Go, search the land. So they went to the mountains of Ephraim, to the house of Micah and spent the night there. When they were near the house of Micah, they recognized the voice of the young Levite and turned aside and said to him, "Who brought you here? What are you doing in this place, and what do you have here?" And he said to them, "Micah did such and such for me, and he hired me, and I have become his Kohen." And they said to him, "Please inquire of Elohim, and we shall know whether the journey on which we are going is prosperous." And the Kohen said to them, "Go in peace. Your journey on which you go is before Yahweh." Then the 5 men left and came to Laish, and saw the people who were in their midst, and how they dwelt safely, according to the ruling of the Sidonians, at rest and unsuspecting. And no one possessing authority in the land was reproaching for any matter. And they were far from the Sidonians, and they had no word with anyone. And the spies came back to their brothers at Sora and Eshtaol, and their brothers said to them, "What do you say?" And they said, "Arise, and let us go up against them, for we have seen the land, and look, it is very good. And you sit still, do not hesitate to go to enter in to possess the land. When you go, you are to come to an unsuspecting people, and the land is spacious, for Elohim has given it into your hands, a place in which there is no lack of any matter which is on the earth." And 600 men of the clan of the Danites went from there, from Sora and Eshtaol, armed for battle. And they went up and encamped in Kiriath. And they went up and encamped in Kiriath Yearim in Yehuda. Therefore they call that place Mahana Dan to this day. See, it is west of Kiriath Yearim. And they passed over from there to the mountains of Ephraim, and they came to the house of Micah. And the 5 men who had gone to spy out the land of Laish answered and said to their brothers, "Do you know that there are in these houses a shoulder garment, and house idols, and a carved image and a molded image? And now you know what to do." And they turned aside there, and came to the house of the young Levite men, the house of Micah, and greeted them. And the 600 men armed for battle, who were the children of Dan, stood by the entrance of the gate. And the 5 men who had gone to spy out the land went up, and entering there, they took the carved image, and the shoulder garment, and the house idols, and the molded image, while the Kohen stood at the entrance of the gate with the 600 men who were armed for battle. And these went into Micah's house, and took the idol, and the shoulder garment, and the house idols, and the molded image. Then the Kohen said to them, "What are you doing?" And they said to him, "Be silent, put your hand over your mouth, and come with us, and be a father and a Kohen to us. Is is it better for you to be a Kohen to the household of 1 man, or that you be a Kohen to a tribe and a clan in Israel?" And the heart of the Kohen was glad, and he took the shoulder garment and the house idols and the carved image, and he took his place among the people. And they turned and went and put the little ones and the livestock and the valuables in front of them. And they had gone some distance from the house of Micah, when the men who were in the houses near Micah's house gathered together and overtook the children of Dan, and called out to the children of Dan. So they turned around and said to Micah, "What is this? What is the matter that you have gathered such a company?" And he said, "You have taken away my mighty ones, which I have made, and the Kohen, and you are leaving. Now what more do I have? What is this you say to me? What is the matter?" And the children of Dan said to him, "Do not let your voice be heard among us, lest men, bitter of being, fall upon you, and you lose your life with the lives of your household." And the children of Dan went their way, and when Micah saw that they were too strong for him, he turned and went back to his house. Then they took what Micah had made, and the Kohen who had belonged to him, and they went to Laish, to a people who were at rest and unsuspecting, and smote them with the edge of the sword, and burned the city with fire. And there was no deliverer, because it was far from Sidon, and they had no word with anyone. And it was in the valley that belongs to Beth Rehob, and they rebuilt the city and dwelt there. And they called the name of that city Dan, after the name of Dan their father, who was born to Israel. But previously the name of the city was Laish. And the children of Dan put up for themselves the carved image. And Jehonathan, son of Gershom, son of Menasheh, and his sons were Kohanim to the tribe of Dan until the day of the land was taken into exile. And they put up for themselves the carved image of Micah, which he had made all the days that the house of Elohim was in Shiloh. 19. And it came to and it came to be in those days when there was no sovereign in Israel, that there was a certain Levite sojourning on the further side of the mountains of Ephraim, and he took for himself a concubine from Bethlehem in Yehudah, and his concubine committed whoring against him, and went away from him to her father's house at Bethlehem in Yehudah, and was there 4 months. And her husband arose and went after her to speak to her heart and bring her back, having his servant and the couple of donkeys with him. And she brought him into her father's house. And the father of the young woman saw him, and he was glad to meet him. And his father-in-law, the young woman's father, detained him, and he dwelt with him 3 days. And they ate and drank and spent the nights there. And it came to be on the 4th day that they arose early in the morning, and he prepared to leave. But the young woman's father said to his son-in-law, refresh your heart with a piece of bread, and afterward go your way. So they sat down, and the two of them ate and drank together. And the young woman's father said to the man, please agree to stay all night, and let your heart be glad. And when the man arose to go, his father-in-law urged him. So he spent the night there again. And he arose early in the morning on the 5th day to go. But the young woman's father said, please refresh your heart. So they delayed until afternoon, and both of them ate. And the man arose to go, he and his concubine and his servant. But his father-in-law, the young woman's father, said to him, see, the day is now drawing toward evening. Please spend the night. See, the day is coming to an end. Stay here and let your heart be glad. And ye shall arise early tomorrow for your journey, and you shall go to your tent. But the man would not stay that night, and he arose and left, and came to a place opposite Yebus, that is Jerusalem. And with him were the two saddled donkeys, and his concubine with him. They were near Yebus, and the day was far spent. And the servant said to his master, come, please, let us turn aside into the city of the Jebusites, and spend the night in it. And his master said to him, let us not turn aside here into a city of foreigners, who are not of the children of Israel, but we shall pass over to Geba. And he said to his servant, come, let us draw near to one of these places, and spend the night in Geba or in Ramah. And they passed over and went their way, and the sun went down on them near Geba, which belongs to Benjamin. And they turned off there to go in to spend the night in Geba. So he went in, and he sat down in the open square of the city, for no one would take them into his house to spend the night. But see, an old man came in from his work in the field at evening, who also was from the mountains of Ephraim, and he was sojourning in Geba, whereas the men of the place were Benjamites. And when he lifted up his eyes, he saw the traveler in the open square of the city, and the old man said, where are you going, and where do you come from? And he said to him, we are passing over from Bethlehem in Yehudah to the other side of the mountains of Ephraim. I am from here, and I went to Bethlehem in Yehudah, and I am going to the house of Yahweh, but there is no one taking me into his house. Yet there is both straw and fodder for our donkeys, and bread and wine for myself, and for your female servant, and for the young man who is with your servant. There is no lack of any matter. And the old man said, peace be with you. However, let all your needs be on me, only do not spend the night in the open square. So he brought him into his house, and gave fodder to the donkeys, and they washed their feet, and ate and drank. And they were making their hearts glad. And see, the men of the city, sons of Belial, surrounded the house, beating on the door. And they spoke to the master of the house, the old man, saying, Bring out the man who came to your house, so that we may know him. But the man, the master of the house, went out to them, and said to them, No, my brothers, I beg you, do no evil. Since this man has come into my house, do not do this folly. Look, here is my maiden daughter and the man's concubine. Let me bring them out now and humble them, and do with them what is good in your eyes, but do no such a foolish matter to this man. But the men would not listen to him. So the man took his concubine and brought her out to them. And they knew her and rolled themselves on her all night until morning. And they let her go when the day began to break. And as morning appeared, the woman came back and fell down at the door of the man's house where her master was, till it was light. And her master rose up in the morning, and opened the doors of the house, and went out to go his way, and saw his concubine fallen at the door of the house with her hands on the threshold. And he said to her, Rise up and let us go. But there was no answer. And then he took her on the donkey, and the man rose and went to his place, and came into his house, and took a knife, then laid hold of his concubine, and cut her up limb by limb into 12 pieces, and sent her throughout all the borders of Israel. And it came to be that all who saw it said, There has never been, and there has not been seen the like of this, from the day that the children of Israel came up from the land of Mitzrayim until this day. Consider it, take counsel, and speak up.
Want to read? Okay. Okay, chapter 20. And all the children of Israel came out from Dan to Beersheba and from the land of Gilead, and the congregation assembled, as one man um, before Yadhe Vavhe at Mitzpah. And the leaders of all the people, all the tribes of Yasharel, presented themselves in the assembly of the people of Elohim, 400,000 foot soldiers who drew the sword. And the children of Benjamin heard that the children of Yasharel had gone up to Mitzpah. And the children of Yasharel said, Speak up, how did this evil come about? And the man, the Levite, husband of the woman who was murdered, answered and said, My concubine and I went into Gibeah, which belongs to Benjamin, to spend the night. And the masters of Gibeah rose against me and surrounded the house at night because of me. They thought to kill me, but instead they humbled my concubine, and she died. Then I took my concubine and cut her in pieces and sent her throughout all the land of the inheritance of Yasharel, because they committed wickedness and folly in Yasharel. Look, you are all children of Yasharel. Speak and give your counsel here. And all the people rose as one man, saying, Let not one of us go to his tent, nor any of us turn back to his house. And now that this is what we do to Gibeah, go against it by lot. And we shall take 10 men out of every 100 throughout all the tribes of Yasharel, and 100 out of every 1,000, and 1,000 out of every 10,000, to make food for the people, to prepare for their going to Gibeah and Benjamin for all the folly they did in Yasharel. And all the men of Yasharel were gathered against the city, knit together as one man. And the tribes of Yasharel sent men through all the tribe of Benjamin, saying, What is this evil that has come about among you? And now give us the men, the sons of Belial, who are in Gibeah, so that we put them to death and put away evil from Yasharel. But the children of Benjamin would not listen to the voice of their brothers, the children of Yasharel. So the children of Benjamin gathered together from their cities to Gibeah to go to battle against the children of Yasharel. And from their cities at that time, the children of Benjamin registered 26,000 men who drew the sword, besides the inhabitants of Gibeah, who registered 700 chosen men. Among all this people, there were 700 chosen men who were left handed. Each one could sling a stone at a hair's breadth and not miss. And besides Benjamin, the men of Yasharel registered 400,000 men who drew the sword. All of these were men of battle. Oh, wow. Okay, and the children of Yasharel rose and went up to Bethel to ask of Elohim, and they said, "Who of us go up first to battle against the children of Benjamin?" And Yadhevavhe said, Yehuda first. And the children of Yasharel rose in the morning and encamped against Gibeah. And the men of Yasharel went out to battle against Benjamin. And the men of Yasharel put themselves in battle array to fight against them at Gibeah. And the children of Benjamin came out of Gibeah, and on that day cut down to the ground 22,000 men of the Israelites. But the people, the men of Yasharel, strengthened themselves and again formed the battle line at the place where they had put themselves in array on the first day. And the children of Yasharel went up and wept before Yadhevavhe until evening, and asked of Yadhevavhe, saying, Should I again draw near for battle against the children of my brother Benjamin? And Yadhevavhe said, Go up against him. And the children of Yasharel drew near to the children of Benjamin on the second day. And Benjamin went out against them from Gibeah on the second day and cut down to the ground 18,000 more of the children of Yasharel. All these drew the sword. Hmm. And all the children of Yasharel, even all the people, went up and came to Bethel and wept and sat there before Yadhevavhe and fasted that day until evening. And they offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before Yadhevavhe. And the children of Yasharel asked Yadhevavhe, the ark of the covenant of Elohim was there in those days, and the and Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aharon, stood before in those days, saying, Should I yet again go out to battle against the children of my brother Benjamin, or should I cease? And Yadhevavhe said, Go up, for tomorrow I give them into your hand. And Yasharel put ambushers around Gibeah. And the children of Yasharel went up against the children of Benjamin on the third day, and put themselves in battle array against Gibeah as at the other times. And the children of Benjamin came out to meet the people, drawn away from the city, and they began to smite some of the people, slaying as at the other times in the highways, of which one went up to Bethel, and the other to Gibeah in the field, about 30 men of Yasharel. And the children of Benjamin said, They are going to be smitten before us, as previously. But the children of Yasharel said, Let us flee and draw them away from the city to the highways. And all the men of Yasharel rose from their place and put themselves in battle array at Baal Tamar. And the ambush of Yasharel broke forth from their position at Me'ara Geba, and 10,000 chosen men and, and 10,000 chosen men from all Yasharel came against Geba, and the battle was fierce. But they did not know that calamity was close to them. And Yadhevadhe smote Benjamin before Yasharel, and the children of Yasharel destroyed 25,100 men on that day in Benjamin. Okay, all these drew the sword, and the children of Benjamin saw that they were smitten, and the men of Yasharel. All right, let me read.
Yeah.
Okay, and the children of Benjamin saw that they were smitten, and the men of Yasharel had given ground to the Benjamites, because they trusted in the ambush that they had put against Gibeah. And the ambush hurried and came against Gibeah, and the ambush spread out and smote the entire city with the edge of the sword. And the appointed signal between the men of Yasharel and the ambush was that they would make a great cloud of smoke rise up from the city. Then the men of Yasharel would turn in battle, and Benjamin began to smite dead about 30 of the men of Yasharel, for they said, They are indeed smitten before us, as at the first battle. Then the cloud began to rise from the city in a column of smoke, and the Benjamites looked behind them and saw the entire city going up in smoke to the Shamaim. And when the men of Yasharel turned back, the men of Benjamin were troubled, for they saw that calamity was close to them, and they turned their backs before the men of Yasharel toward the way of the wilderness. But the battle overtook them, while those who had come out of the cities were destroying them in their midst. They surrounded the Benjamites and pursued them, and with ease trampled them down as far as the front of Gibeah toward the east. And there fell of Benjamin 18,000 men. All of these were mighty men. And they turned and fled toward the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon. And they cut down 5,000 of them on the highways and followed after them up to Gittim and smote 2,000 of them. And all who fell of Benjamin that day were 25,000 men who drew the sword. All of these were mighty men. But 600 men turned and fled toward the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon, and they dwelt at the rock of Rimmon for 4 months. And the men of Yasharel turned back against the children of Benjamin and smote them with the edge of the sword from every city, men and beasts, all who were found, and they lit fire to all the cities they came to. Wow. Okay. Mhm.
And the men of Yasharal had sworn an oath at Mitzpah, saying, not one of us shall give his daughter to Benjamin as a wife. So the people came to Bethel and sat there till evening before Elohim, and lifted up their voices and wept bitterly, and said, O Yahweh Elohim of Yasharal, why has this come about in Yasharal, that today there should be one tribe missing in Yasharal? And it came to be on the morrow that the people rose early and built an altar there, and brought burnt offerings and peace offerings. And the children of Yasharal said, who is there among all the tribes of Yasharal who did not come up with the assembly to Yahweh? For they had made a great oath concerning anyone who would not come up to Yahweh at Mitzpah, saying, he shall certainly be put to death. And the children of Yasharal were sorry for Benjamin, their brother, and said, one tribe is cut off from Yasharal today. What do we do for wives for those who remain, seeing we have sworn by Yahweh not to give them our daughters as wives? And they said, which one of the tribes of Yasharal did not come up to Mitzpah to Yahweh? And see, no one had come to the camp from Yabesh Gilad to the assembly. For when the people called a roll, see, not one of the inhabitants of Yabesh Gilad was there. And the congregation sent out their 12,000 of their bravest men, and commanded them, saying, go, and ye shall smite the inhabitants of Yabesh Gilad with the edge of the sword, even the women and children. And this is what you do: put under the ban every male, and every woman who has known a man by lying with him. And they found among the inhabitants of Yabesh Gilad 400 young maidens who had not known a man. And they brought them to the camp at Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan. I'm sorry. Then all the congregation sent and spoke to the children of Benjamin who were at the rock of Rimmon, and proclaimed peace to them. And Benjamin turned back at that time, and they gave them the woman whom they had saved alive of the women of Yabesh Gilad. But even so, yeah, but even so, there was not enough for them. And the people were sorry for Benjamin, because Yahweh had made a breach in the tribes of Yasharal. And the elders of the congregation said, what do we do for wives for those who remain, since the women have been destroyed out of Benjamin? And they said, there is an inheritance for the survivors of Benjamin, and no tribe is to be destroyed from Yasharal. But we are unable to give them wives from our daughters. For the children of Yasharal had sworn an oath, saying, cursed be the one who gives a wife to Benjamin. So they said, see, there is a yearly festival of Yahweh in Shiloh, which is north of Bethel, on the east side of the highway that goes up from Bethel to Shechem, and south Lebanon, and south of Lebonah. And they commanded the children of Benjamin, saying, go, lie in wait in the vineyards, and watch, and see, When the daughters of Shiloh come out to perform their dances, then you shall come out from the vineyards, and every man catch a wife for himself from the daughters of Shiloh, and go to the land of Benjamin. And it shall be when their fathers or their brothers come to us to complain, that we shall say to them, Favor us with them, because we did not take a wife for any of them in battle, neither have you given them to them, making yourselves guilty of your oath. And the children of Benjamin did so, and took enough wives for their number from those who danced, whom they caught. Then they went and returned to their inheritance, and they rebuilt the cities and dwelt in them. And the children of Yasharal went from there at that time, each one to his tribe and clan, and they went from there, each one to his inheritance. In those days there was no sovereign in Yasharal. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes.
Okay. Shemuel, or First Samuel, um, chapter 1. And there was a certain man of Ramathaim, Sophim, of the mountains of Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, son of Jeroam, son of Elihu, son of Tohu, son of Suph, and Ephraimite. And he had two wives, and the name of one was Hannah, and the name of the other Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. Now this man went up from his city year by year to worship and to slaughter to Yadhevavhe, of hosts in Shiloh, and the two sons of Eli, Hophni, and Phinehas, the Kohanim of Yahweh were there. And when the day came for Elkanah to make an offering, he gave portions to Peninnah, his wife, and to all her sons and daughters. But although he loved Hannah, he gave only one portion to Hannah because Yahweh had shut up her womb. Moreover, her rival also provoked her greatly to make her irritable because Yahweh had shut up her womb. And so he did year by year. Whenever she went up to the house of Yadhebathe, she was provoked, so that she wept and did not eat. And her husband Elkanah said to her, Hannah, why do you weep? Why do you not eat? And why is your heart sad? Am I not better to you than 10 sons? And Hannah rose up after eating and drinking in Shiloh, while Eli the Kohen was sitting on the seat by the doorpost of the Hekel of Yadhevathe, and she was bitter in life and prayed to Yahweh and wept greatly. And she made a vow and said, O Yahweh of hosts, if you would indeed look on the affliction of your female servant and remember me, and not forget your female servant, but shall give your female servant a male child, then I shall give him to Yahweh all the days of his life, and let no razor come upon his head. And it came to be, as she kept on praying before Yahweh, that Eli was watching her mouth. And Hannah spoke in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. So Eli thought she was drunk. Then Eli said to her, How long are you going to be drunk? Put your wine away from you. And Hannah answered and said, No, my master, I am a woman pained in spirit, and I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but have poured out my being before Yahweh. Do not take your female servant for a daughter of Belial, for it is out of my great concern and provocation that I have spoken till now. And Eli answered and said, Go in peace, and the Elohim of Yasharel give you your petition, which you have asked of him. And she said, Let your female servant find favor in your eyes. And the woman went her way and ate, and her face was no more sad. And they rose up early in the morning and worshipped before Yahweh, and returned and came to Elkanah, and came to their house at Ramah. And Elkanah knew Hannah his wife, and Yadhebahe remembered her. And it came to be at the turn of days that Hannah conceived and bore a son, and called his name Shemuel, Samuel, I think, because I have asked Yadhebahe for him. And the man Elkanah and all his house went up to offer to Yadhevahe the yearly slaughtering and his vow. But Hannah did not go up, for she said to her husband, when the child is weaned, then I shall take him, and he shall appear before Yadhevahe and remain forever there. And her husband Elkanah said to her, do what is good in your eyes. Remain until you have weaned him. Only let Yadhevahe establish his word. And the woman remained and nursed his son until she had weaned him. And when she had weaned him, she took him up with her with their 3-year-old bull and 1 ephah of flour and a skin of wine, and brought him to the house of Yadhevafe in Shiloh, and the child was young. And they slaughtered a bull and brought the child to Eli. And she said, oh, my master, as your being lives, my master, I am the woman who stood by you praying to Yahweh. I prayed for this youth, and Yahweh has granted me what I asked of him. So I have also loaned him to Yahweh. All the days that he lives, he shall be loaned to Yahweh, and he worshiped there before Yahweh. Okay.
And Hannah prayed and said, my heart rejoices in Yahweh. My horn has been high in Yahweh. My mouth is opened wide over my enemies, for I have rejoiced in your deliverance. There is no one Kadash like Yahweh, for there is no one besides you, and there is no rock like our Elohim. Do not multiply words so proudly. Proudly, let no arrogance come from your mouth, for Yahweh is an El of knowledge, and by him deeds are weighed. The bows of the mighty are broken, and those who stumble shall be girded with strength. The, the satisfied have hired themselves out for bread, and the hungry have ceased. Even the barren has borne 7, and she who has many children pines away. Yahweh puts to death and makes alive. He brings down to the grave and raises up. Yahweh makes poor and makes rich. He brings low and lifts up. He raises the poor from the dust. He lifts the needy from the dunghill, to sit with princes and make them inherit a throne of esteem. For the supports of the earth belong to Yahweh, and he has put the world upon them. He guards the feet of his kind ones, but the wicked are silent in darkness, for man does not become mighty by power. Those who oppose Yahweh are shattered, for the Shamaim, he thunders against them. Yahweh judges the ends of the earth, and gives strength to his sovereign, and exalts the horn of his anointed. And Elkanah went into his house at Ramah, but the youth served Yahweh before Eli the Kohen. And the sons of Eli were sons of Belial. I can't pronounce it very well. Belial. They did not know Yahweh. And the ruling of the Kohanim with the people was that when any man offered a slaughtering, the Kohen's servant shall come with a 3-pronged flesh hook in his hand while the meat was cooking, and shall thrust it into the basin, or kettle, or cauldron, or pot. And the Kohen would take for himself all that the flesh hook brought up. Thus they did in Shiloh to all the Yasharalites who came there. And before they burned the fat, the Kohen's servant would come and say to the man who slaughtered, give meat for roasting to the Kohen, for he does not accept cooked meat from you, but raw. And if the man said to him, let the fat be burned up first, then take as much as your being desires, he would then answer him, no, but give it to me now, and if not, I shall take it by strength. And the sin of the young men was very great before Yahweh, for the men despised the offering of Yahweh. But Shemuel was attending before Yahweh, a youth wearing a linen shoulder garment, and his mother would make him a little robe and bring it to him year by year, when she came up with her husband to offer the yearly slaughtering. And Eli, Barak, Elkanah, and his wife had said, Yahweh, give you offering from this woman, for the one she prayed for and gave to Yahweh. Then they would go to their own home. And Yahweh visited Hannah, so that she conceived and bore of the house of Yahweh. Wait. And she conceived and bore 3 sons and 2 daughters, while the young Shemuel grew before Yahweh. And Eli was very old, and had heard all that his sons were doing to all Yasharal, and how they lay with the women who were assembling at the door of the tent of appointment. And he said to them, Why do you do deeds like these? For I hear of your evil deeds from all the people. No, my sons, for it is not a good report that I hear, making the people of Yahweh transgress. If one man sins against another, HalleluYah shall judge him. But if a man sins against Yahweh, who shall pray for him? But they did not listen to the voice of their father, though it pleased Yahweh to put them to death. And the young Shemuel was growing in stature, and was in favor with Yahweh, and also with men. And a man of Elohim came to Eli and said to him, Thus says Yahweh, Did I not clearly reveal myself to the house of your father when they were in Mitzrayim in Pharaoh's house, even chose even to choose him out of all the tribes of Yasharal to be my Kohen, to offer upon my altar, to burn incense, and to wear a shoulder garment before me? And I did not give him to the house of your father all of the offerings of the children of Yasharal made by fire? Why do you kick at my slaughtering and my offering when I have commanded in my Mishkan and esteem your sons above me to make yourselves fat with the best of all the offerings of Yasharal my people? Therefore Yahweh Elohim of Yasharal declares, I shall indeed I said indeed that your house and the house of your father would walk before me forever. But now Yahweh declares, Far be it from me, for those who esteem in me I esteem, and those who despise me are accursed. See, the days are coming that I shall cut off your arm and the arm of your father's house, so that an old man shall not be in your house. And you shall see an enemy in my Mishkan, despite all the good which Elohim does for Israel, Yasharal. And there shall not be any old man in your house forever. But any of your men whom I do not cut off from my altar is to consume your eyes and grieve your life, and all the increase of your house die as men. And this is the sign to you that comes upon your 2 sons, upon Hophni and Phinehas. In one day they are going to die, both of them. And I shall raise up for myself a trustworthy Kohen, who does according to what is in my heart and in my being. And I shall build him a steadfast house, and he shall walk before my anointed forever. And it shall be that everyone who is left in your house shall come and bow down to him for a piece of silver and a cake of bread, and say, Please put me in one of the Kahuna positions to eat a piece of bread.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us today for the reading. We made it through to Shemuel or Samuel, um, chapter 3, and we will begin tomorrow with chapter 3. Blessings, shalom, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.